Hello and welcome to the Hooniverse podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Glucker. My co-host, Ron Baugh, I gave him the day off today so I could have a friend and a buddy and pal and colleague, Bradley Brownell on. How you doing, pal?
I'm living the life, man. Every day is a dream.
Well, the last time we saw each other was not at Radwood. It was a day later on the 395.
Yes. I was driving home from Radwood. I had packed the van up and I have a 2008 Ford E350 Super Duty ambulance.
Yes.
That I haul all the gear in. It's a 2008 because I got a deal on it, but I'm going to be backdating it so it'll look Radwood eventually, just not right now. Nice. Haven't got around to it. Anyway, I was driving up 395, my typical route home.
For those who don't know, it's a beautiful but
gorgeous,
like pretty old school, desolate 2-lane basically. Yeah. But it's unbelievably gorgeous, and it goes through like 4 towns before you get further out there. So it's like middle of nowhere, California.
Literally middle of nowhere. I had stopped probably 3 or 4 times that morning. I left at like 8 a.m. I'm going slow because I got the big ambulance, and all of a sudden this like root beer brown metallic. Is that what color it is?
It's two-tone. It was black and red. So depending on how the light hits it.
All right. Well, it looked like it was brown. Maybe it was just reflecting all the brown around.
The gorgeousness,
But it's this Maybach SUV just goes whipping by me, and then the brake lights go on. I was like, "What is going on here? What is this guy doing?" And it slows down. And I look over, and Jeff is in the driver's seat, just pointing at me like, "You, I know you."
Dude, I was driving my family, my wife, daughter, and I were on this vehicle. I think my daughter was listening to a podcast. My wife was like zoning out because we're, halfway on this 5-hour journey, and longer journey for you. But
it was about 10 for me.
We were
with
going
stops. But
yeah, sure. We were going to Mammoth for a few days, just a little vacation. My daughter's on break. We had another family we were meeting up there, and I happen to have the Maybach GLS 600, and I'm cruising down the 395, which again, gorgeous stretch of highway. And I see this ambulance in the right lane with like green paint on. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder what Brad's ambulance looks like. And I get close to it, and I see the rad sticker as I'm still like moving past. I was like, wait, what the fuck? And I hit the brake. I was like, hey buddy. So that shit was hilarious.
It was very funny. Just like, what a coincidence.
Yeah,
I just seen you the day before.
Yep.
I probably hadn't seen you all year before that.
And we saw each other like 3 days in a row or something.
Yeah.
We were also at Matt's
we were also
birthday.
at Matt's birthday party.
So we'll talk about Radwood in a moment, though. The first thing I want to talk about is, because it's this weekend, so it's going to be the main focus of this podcast, is Autopia 2099.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So set the stage. First of all, so everybody knows, we are the co-founders along with a group of other people who've created this show. The show is really your brainchild, and you've invited us to come along for the journey, to be completely honest. And we all appreciate that. But
I need labor.
Tell us about how you came up with the idea and what you envisioned for the first show, maybe to give expectations, and then what you see for future shows. That's probably a good way to go.
Yeah, for sure. I was on a motorcycle road trip across the country at the end, near the end of 2020, like October, like just over a year ago. And when I'm alone for that long, and all I have to do is sit and think with my own thoughts, because it was like a 5-day cross-country trip. I stopped at like national parks and saw a bunch of really cool stuff. And it was just me and the bike and the road, and I was just like vibing. And when I sit and think for too long, I come up with things to keep me busy for the rest of the year. And I probably add way too many things to my plate, if I'm honest. But lately I've been all about EVs. I was writing a column for Chad Kirchner's site, EV Pulse, about EV, like hot takes. And
on brand.
Yeah, very on brand for me. I'm a very hot takes kind of guy. And I had kind of had this thought that like something like Radwood could exist for the EV space. Mm-hmm. Obviously not around a certain set of years, but around electric propulsion altogether.
Yeah.
Because as a percentage of the world of cars, EVs and 80s and 90s cars are probably similar, I would guess, somewhere in there, of like what people still drive and what's
Sure, I
still
can
on the
see that.
road.
That's a fair statement.
And so, because like EVs are like what, 4 to 5% of new cars sold now.
Right.
It's supposed to be 8 this year, which is actually pretty huge.
Yeah.
It's like 35 in Europe now, which is
Right.
wild. So, of what's on the road, I mean, on an average every day, you might see the same amount of electric cars as you would, say, like 87 Civics.
I mean, here in California, I see more electrics.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I kind of had a vision for like, hey, we should do something like that. And we kind of brainstormed. I talked to all of our other cohorts about this, and was like, what do we want it to look like? What do we want it to feel like? And the idea that we kind of came up with was like a World's Fair, Motorama, kind of like optimistic about the future, like everything's changing, but we don't know what it's going to look like, kind of thing.
Right.
So like rocket age, jet propulsion, you know, bring me my jetpack and live in the Jetsons life. So
yeah, like Fallout if it had gone well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The game series, not like actual Fallout.
Right. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, where it's like, I mean, that's kind of what Autopia is. It's a automotive utopia. Is
right.
the kind of the name of the game. And then we added 2099 on the end, 2099, because we wanted it to feel futuristic, somewhere like far off in the future. Because back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you would have movies that were like the year 2000, because it felt like it was forever away.
A great Conan O'Brien bit, absolutely.
Yeah. So we kind of wanted to make that the feel of the event, and we'll see how it goes. I've encouraged people to dress up and to think about what they think the future will look like, and what they think it can look like. We've got a ton of really cool vehicles coming. The thing that I'm most excited about for electrics is the future of hot rodding.
Yes,
is wild, because everything's, I mean, cars from the factory are running 9s in the quarter now. So like, just imagine what they could do with a tune.
Oh my God.
Like it's going to be bonkers.
And the tuning future is wild too, because it's not like if I wanted to tune this for more power, I would have no idea what to do. When the future with electric motors, it's like, oh, you just do this, or you go into a computer code, or like there's it's as crazy and technologically advanced as it sounds in concept. In practice, it might be even easier.
Yeah, I think right now it's kind of a combination of the 50s, where like the idea was you take a big motor out of a big sedan and you put it in something small and you go really freaking fast. That was the whole goal of hot rodding back then.
Right.
Big blocks in MGBs or whatever, that that kind of stuff. And now it's like, take a big motor out of a big sedan, like a Tesla Model S, and throw it in the middle of a whatever weird project you've got.
Whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it's already come into fruition, because one of the cars that's going to be there is the Revolt Systems Little Giant, which is a streamliner that they built to run at Bonneville this year, and it went 357 miles an hour.
Jesus, that's insane.
So like the future of hot rodding is here. It's happening right now, and as we get more technologically advanced with this stuff, and hot rodders they break open the brains and they figure out how to make things go faster, it's just going to get crazier from there. I mean, go ahead.
And then, but on the flip side too, on the manufacturer side, accessibility. I mean, Ford, Chevy did the crate motor, and then Ford is doing the crate motor, but then Ford seems eager to ramp it up even further by saying like, no, listen, we know this doesn't have controllers and the other stuff you guys need to make this turnkey, but it's in the cards. We're going to do it. It's really exciting stuff. And especially with the respect to keeping some of the older stuff on the road. And in certain cases, making them better. Like
Yeah.
I've said this before on this podcast and out loud and in other spaces. My 74 Mercedes, I would love to have kept that if I could have converted it to an EV. As just strictly gas transportation, I needed to move on and do more things, and it was time to sell it. But as an electric daily driver, it would be far more interesting to me, because as a car, it's wonderful, but it's not like I'm like going like, oh, what I don't know what the engine code for the W114 was, M blah blah blah, whatever it is. Like, who gives a shit? There's millions of them. It's not exciting. And an electric motor would be smoother, which you would like in a Mercedes, more powerful. Like so I mean,
that's my thing is like, Rolls-Royce has been trying to get this level of NVH for decades. And then somebody like Tesla just comes out and it's like, oh, here it is. It's quieter than a Rolls-Royce. And it costs a quarter of the price, or whatever. So like it, and you've got actually one of the companies that's coming to Autopia, AEM. They have a standalone motor controller for the Tesla large motor. That pumps it up to 650 horsepower.
Awesome.
Just with like, you plug it in and go.
That's crazy.
And it's, obviously you got to have the right batteries and all that stuff. But they have standalone motor controllers for these that didn't exist. And for the last few years, people have been doing Tesla swaps. They've been spoofing the motor so that it thinks that it's still in a Tesla. So that was the only way to make it work. And now you've got these standalones where the motor doesn't care at all. You just plug the thing in and it's like, oh yeah, I'll do whatever you want. How do you want the throttle control to be? How do you want the whatever? And then they've got all of this like push button stuff, shifters, read like their dash readouts and everything. It all works as one system, which is like, that's the game changer.
And the bigger names too, not just companies, but people like BC. BC's diving in. He's still doing his crazy gas builds, but he's doing, what is it? A Porsche 935?
Yeah, he built a 935 with Tesla power. He's done some really crazy hybrid stuff. He built a hypermiler for SEMA a few years ago with Hyundai that got like, it was like 95 miles to the gallon or something like that, which is insane.
That's awesome.
Dude is crazy. He knows what he's doing, and he's like on it. And I would love to just be able to like live in his brain for a week. Because he's way super smart.
Because he's like a hot boy tuner / mad scientist genius. Like he just like straddles all these lines and does really cool stuff.
He was a perfect choice for his built 1,000 horsepower minivan.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's one of the I love that thing so much. He was a perfect choice for that. I haven't watched an episode of it, but there's that Motor Trend show.
It's great. Motor Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. Yeah, everyone on it is really good, so I got to give it a watch.
It's awesome. It's really good.
Cool.
That was another one. They built he wanted to see if he could turbocharge a Honda Insight and get better fuel mileage. Like make it faster, but also get better fuel mileage. And came close, but I don't think it quite made it. But
now, Autopia won't just be cars. There'll be some motorcycles, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we had one of our big presentations is with Livewire, nay Harley. They are no longer Harley Davidson. They're Livewire motorcycles.
Oh, okay.
They spun off their electric branch, and now that's going to be the home for all Harley EVs. So they're bringing 4 bikes. I don't know exactly what they are, but I think one of them might be Ewan's bike from Long Way Up.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Which would be super cool.
Yep.
And then I think they're bringing a race bike from Suicide Machine, which is
those guys do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
SMCO, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They participate in King of the Baggers, or they're like in that world?
Yeah, they're in that world. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do some flat track stuff, and they do some like crazy builds. This one they actually had built for. I covered it. I went to Laguna Seca for the King of the Baggers race, or the
Velocity
Moto America. Oh no, this was.
Oh no. Okay, when they were at the
when they were racing motorcycles.
Right.
Moto America was there, and they had King of the Baggers. It was the season finale, but then they also had Roland Sands does a class of dirt track that is, what do they call it? Super hooligans.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And it's bonkers because it's like 1000cc plus. Triples and twins are what's allowed.
Now,
So it's like 1290 Super Dukes,
okay.
FTR 1200s, and they're doing flat
Jesus.
track.
That's insane.
It's super insane. And then for this one, they were like, we're going to do those bikes, all the bikes that are eligible for Super Hooligan. We're going to run them on the road course. We're going to race them at Laguna Seca. And of course, the KTMs just like walked everybody.
Yeah, okay.
They just walked it because Super Dukes are like actually really good. But you know, the FTR 1200s were cool, but they entered 2 Livewire 1s in that class.
Okay.
And of course, they had some issues, and
Sure.
you know, there's a top speed limiter that they couldn't fix, and there was like cornering traction control, like you can't get on the throttle when you're fully leaned over.
It needs to be like straight.
Yeah, right. So they would have to like get basically off the bike to get their weight through the corner, and then so that the bike would stand up so they could still go through the corner fast. So it was not fast, but they're like, we're working on trying to break some of this electronic nannery,
sure,
and go faster. So
right.
they didn't win. They finished last and second to last, but it was still really cool to see them on track. And I was
nice.
I was super excited to interview those guys. But
That's
it turns out the reason that whole thing is cool is one of those bikes is theirs. The other one was a press bike.
Oh, that's awesome.
They were like, hey, Livewire, we're going to be out at this Laguna Seca event. We're going to be racing one of our bikes. We'd like to have a stock one to show people what it's like. And they were like, sure, here you go. So they handed them a press bike for the week. They took the headlight off. They took the fairings off. They put slicks on it, and they raced it. Just a stock.
See, you can only get away with that in the power sport world. Like if you do that if you do that on the car side of things, shit is not. They're not going to be smiling. I mean, I know people who've taken cars to tracks when they didn't tell the automaker they were doing that, and it doesn't go well. So,
no.
Any automotive journalists out there, younger automotive journalists, if you want to take it to a track, tell them and ask them before. And if they say no, the answer is no.
Right.
So that's funny. That's amazing.
I think they kind of knew what was going to happen.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's Suicide Machine.
Power sport, and it's a different world. And 100%. But back to Roland Sands, that's another dude who's dabbling in the electric world because he has a custom Super 73 model.
Yeah, he does.
Really cool.
Roland is cool. Like his vision for stuff is so like amazing. This is just going to turn into a podcast of me fawning over all the people who do really cool stuff, I guess. But
that's how they go.
Yeah, he rules. I love that guy. They built a Yamaha Water Buffalo, like a big triple for Travis Pastrana to race. It's
called a Water Buffalo.
That's the nickname, I guess, for it. It's got a letters numbers name.
Oh, all right.
But it's a big triple, and Travis Pastrana went to race it, and it was like totally impossible to race. It was like it's too heavy, and it's too like the steering's not right.
Yeah,
you know, it's from the 70s,
cool, but
it looks super cool.
That's
anyway.
Funny. Nice. So we've got bikes, we've got press vehicle, or we've got automaker provided vehicles. We've got some hot rodded stuff coming. I'm still working on food. So
there will be food. We'll figure it out.
Yes.
Do you know Super Fast Matt?
That sounds a YouTuber. Really familiar. Oh, I think he followed me on Instagram today.
Oh, okay. He's a YouTuber. He wrote for Jalopnik for like a week. But do you remember a few years ago? I think it actually won Hooniversal Car of the Year. The Honda S600 with the bike motor in it that was on Jay Leno's garage.
Sounds really familiar.
Like 6-7 years ago. It was a while ago. Anyway, he built that.
Okay.
In his garage. And then now he's building a Jag Mark II, big sedan, like from the 50s, with Tesla power. And that's coming to the show. So he's got a YouTube series about that. You should go check it out. It's fantastic. His brand of like dry British kind of humor is hilarious, and I love his videos. So go check that out. but that's gonna come.
That was the year the S600. I just double checked. I think that was the year we had controversy because NASCARlo won, and
Oh,
then
right.
Mitch pulled it back and gave it to the S600.
Right.
So, yes, okay, now I remember.
Yes,
that's some inside Hooniverse baseball there.
yeah, I remember that. I was still writing there when that happened.
I think a lot of people were still writing there at one point. Awesome. So I'm excited for this weekend. We're going to have some really cool stuff. I'm bringing my electric skateboard. I'm still working on finding an electric vehicle.
I am in talks with someone to get a electric vehicle to tow some electric bikes, including my e-bike. So I'll bring my Rad Power bicycle.
How is that thing?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean,
Nice.
it goes like 18, 19 miles an hour. It's pretty good.
Okay. Nice.
I basically have found that I don't really ride it unless I'm going short distances.
Sure.
So I basically ride it like to the grocery store, which is like a quarter of a mile away.
Yeah.
Or like maybe to the dentist or something like that.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's like,
I mean, they're perfect for that sort of thing.
they're great for that, but I've only put like 30 miles on it since I got
yeah.
So it's
Nice.
Yeah, most of the time if I'm going farther than that, I'll take the Leaf. And
my neighbor and I, because I have two boosted skateboards, one's a longboard, one's the mini, we'll be drinking here a little bit. Like, we don't get drunk, we've had a few, and we'll be, because we got to be somewhat responsible. We're like, let's go cruise the neighborhood. I'll be like, okay. I'll be like, turn to my wife, be like, hey, we're going on a skateboard cruise, your 41-year-old husband will be back in a minute. And obviously, helmet and shit like that when we rip the neighborhood. But it's funny because we'll cruise through and like all the older people in the neighborhood are like, oh my, look at, what is that? What is that? Just woo, and our little remote control skateboards whipping through. But there's so much fun. And then I had the boosted scooter, which I traded for a giant bottle of beer on Twitter. I gave it to someone because I could not fix the rear tire and I was just getting sick of it, and I hadn't used it in a bit. And I in a fit of frustration on Twitter, I said, whoever wants this, if you come get it, you can have it. And like in 5 seconds, someone's like, yeah,
gone.
I'm coming to get it. I'll trade you this giant bottle of beer. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. And they did. And then they posted a picture that afternoon. They had fixed the tire in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, well, all right, you know what? Someone's using it. Have fun. I'll figure something else out. And randomly that day, some Chinese company reached out that said, we would love for you to review this scooter. It goes 40 miles an hour. And I was like, hell yeah, send it over. And then they never replied. I was like, damn it. I want a 40 mile per hour scooter, even though that's sketchy as fuck.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where, we'll recap this at the end too, but for Autopia specifically, why don't you tell everybody how they can get tickets or where it's going to be and time, and so they have an idea of what's going on.
You got it. So 10 o'clock on the 4th, which is this Saturday, at a place called Optimist Studios. That's right. In Los Angeles, right by LAX. So it's like right at the end of the freight runway at LAX. So there will be planes flying over and photo opportunities. It'll be really cool. Take a nice selfie with a DHL plane or something.
Or Kalia flies out of there a lot.
Right, they do, yeah. And you can get tickets at autopia2099.com, AUTOPIA. And they're $5 for spectators, $15 if you're bringing a car. And it's going to be cool. We've got t-shirts that we're slinging, some stickers. The trophies look so dope.
So good.
I'm so excited about the trophies. We had
Kevin
our friends.
crushed it.
Yeah. Kevin did the design and then sent it over to our friends at sendcutsend.com. And they're local to me here in Reno, good buddies of mine. Actually, one of them is going to be bringing his electric swap DeLorean. So you can check that out.
And Kevin, by the way, is at Capturing the Machine on Instagram, Kevin McCauley.
Yes, Kevin McCauley, one of the co-founders. And so he sent this totally cool design over to them. They cut it out and they were like, it doesn't quite have everything that we thought it would have. Like the base is steel and the top is aluminum. And they're like, it's not the contrast that we thought it was going to have. So here we're going to, for free, we're going to put a layer in between of bright, like eye-searingly green, like Lexan.
Do you have them? Do you have any right there?
No.
I can stall while you go find one.
Sure, I'll go get one.
Okay.
I'll go get one.
So the Kevin we were talking about is an awesome photographer. He's getting into videography. He explains his stuff. Some other founders of Autopia are Chad Kirchner, as we already mentioned, and then another one is Ethan Tufts, who is on YouTube at Hello Road. So if you're into the Radwood area stuff, Ethan has some really cool. He's like he's head first into the Radwood era cars. I was talking about Ethan. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the green backing is really cool.
The green on back, and then it's cut through right here, so you can see it through there. And then this is all laser cut. These turned out so cool.
Real awards.
They precision bent it, so they're all bent at the same angle. And
wow,
yeah, this thing is so sweet.
The machining on that is nicer than the vehicle up behind me. That's very impressive shit. So yeah. Autopia2099.com. You can get tickets at the door. It's easier to just buy them ahead of time online. But either way, we hope all of you will be there, and we hope to see you all soon. Now, speaking of gas-powered cars, because despite the fact that Brad and I both really are optimistic and love the electric stuff, we still love gas stuff too.
That is true. Yes.
How was Radwood SoCal?
It was amazing. It was exceeded all of our expectations. It was so cool.
It was packed.
Honestly, it was packed.
In a good way.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Well, it was. I mean, it was a big space, so we could spread out.
It was spread out. Yeah.
And there was a ton of people. It was around 600 cars and around 4,000 people.
That pizza truck was slow as shit, though.
Was it?
Yeah. Like the burger truck, we ordered, we sat, we waited. 5 minutes later, Farah and his crew came through and ordered burgers, got them, ate them, and we still hadn't got our food yet.
From the pizza guy.
Yeah, we're like,
oh, wow.
But I'm not going to dump on the pizza guy. The pizza was tasty.
The burgers were fantastic.
That's what I hear.
That's what I had.
That's what I hear.
He's a pal of mine, and he actually makes really good hot sauce, too.
I heard that. Yeah. Our friend Manuel showed me a bottle, and they're like, "You haven't heard about this?" Like three other people are like, "You haven't heard about this hot sauce?" So I got to try the hot sauce.
Hot Hatch hot sauce. I think he's got a website.
A Mark I Golf on it or something like that.
Yeah.
The show had one of the coolest cars there. I think was that Ferrari, the 308.
Yeah. Yeah. The story on that thing. I mean, I'd only passively known about it because it showed up to Radwood NorCal back in June.
Okay.
And it had all the stuff on it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And somebody had said, oh, he just did a road trip from like Massachusetts or something, wherever it was. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I could see, doing a road trip and something like that. And it was still pretty nice. It just had like a little bit of road grime on it. It wasn't like beat up or anything. And then like 2 weeks after Radwood, there was a picture on Facebook of the car at the Arctic Circle in northern Alaska.
Oh,
and I was like,
I didn't know that.
I was like, what? So ever since then, I was like, this guy is a legend. Like he's about it.
Because I've seen the pictures of it in Colorado, and then Fred Williams from Dirt Every Day randomly came across it in like Utah.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he went to the Arctic Circle in that car. Yeah, just because.
What a badass.
Yeah, which is awesome. And so when I saw it at SoCal, I was like, immediately, that's my Radisson
winner
show for sure. So when the discussion came up amongst the organizers, because everything's organizer's choice at Radwood, we don't like to encourage people to be super competitive about awards, because ultimately it's just a piece of metal and it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
It's more about coming out and having fun and whatever. But it's all organizer's choice. So when usually at the end of the day, like 2:00 rolls around and we all do a lap and we pick out like what we like, and then we come together and we argue for like 20 minutes about what should and shouldn't win awards. And that was pretty much unanimous. It was like, oh yeah, that car rules. So it was a 308 Targa, I think.
Maybe.
What are the GTS? I think is what they call that. And yeah, it was very cool. He had a sea sucker on the roof.
Yep.
To hold his like rack of skis and all that kind of stuff.
He had a big whip for the antenna whip.
Big whip antenna. Yeah.
I had a park on a small curb with the wheel up.
Oh, nice.
Very funny shit.
Yeah.
Also at the show was the nicest FJ60 Land Cruiser I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if that qualifies for rad at that point, because I know you guys are very period correct specific. That was the nicest FJ I've ever seen. Apparently it's the company's called Corsetti Cruisers.
Was it like modified or something?
Well, yeah, it had an LS3 in it.
Oh, okay.
But the paint on the outside was perfect. The interior was like brown leather Recaro seats that just looked incredible. And then it had something I'd never heard of before. The rear windows on it could pop out. They're called like emu windows or gull wing windows. It's like an Australian thing.
Interesting.
And I priced them out, and like the main best known company, it's like $1,000 a window. And I was like, oh no, okay.
I'm good.
I was like, I want to do that on my truck. I was like, no,
nope.
I'm gonna find a way to do that like for cheap. Where I don't know. But the fit and finish and all of it was absolutely perfect. But then the thing that always ruins a build for me, it had like a little Grant steering wheel. I'm like, what the fuck? like you can immediately tell because it's always that unfinished wood. I'm like, just throw a Nardi in there and like, like what? Like this is $125,000 to $175,000 truck probably.
Yeah.
Threw a $50 steering wheel in it. Like,
Right.
come on, man.
At least give me like a Momo or something.
Something. Like even my Jag came with a Nardi, and that steering wheel would look instantly a billion times better. But literally every other facet of the truck was perfect. I was also blown away because I brought the Montero, and it was parked near, they owned a DeLorean and the Toyota from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much blown away by the DeLorean and the Toyota, even though that black Toyota was literally flawless. All the extra gear, the props they have from the movie.
Yeah.
The level of detail is wild.
Some of those guys are really about it. It was very detailed.
Because it's like they have the almanac, they have the skateboard, they have the sneakers, they have the vest, they have the reflective hats, all that shit was wild. I'm super happy the Dodgy Band showed up.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that thing's cool.
That Red Bull NSX was really good.
That one, I actually saw that in Austin for the Grand Prix.
Oh.
So it went apparently, I mean, I don't know if it was shipped or driven, but it was in Austin at the US Grand Prix, and they did like Red Bull actually wanted to do something with Acura because Acura was the sponsor for the weekend. They had their name on the wing and everything. They wanted to do something with Acura where they like displayed a new NSX, but they were like 2 days before they were like, oh, we got to have it wrapped in our colors, and Acura was like, we don't have time for that.
Right.
What about this one that's already wrapped like a Red Bull because he's a fan of your? And they were like, yeah, that sounds great. Nice. So anyway,
wow, damn, that's impressive.
Yeah, that car is cool.
Acura brought out cool stuff. They seemed like a good host from an attending guest side.
We've worked with Acura for a few years now. They're the only OEM who has built a car specifically for Radwood. So they rule. They're awesome.
Yeah. Because we were wondering whether someone was like, oh, I remember at past Radwoods there was beer. I'm like, well, I think when you're on an automaker campus, that's going to be a no.
That was part of it. We were not allowed to have alcohol, which is they weren't checking coolers though. So if you brought something,
I know that. I didn't bring one, but I was going to bring one. But I talked to other people. I met people who did bring them. I was like, well, this is convenient. Like our friend Ron Baugh, even he had to go home to change because he broke his sneakers and he needed an outfit change.
Oh no.
And he brought back 2 IPAs, and because Rotiform, he works for Wheel Pros. They make their own. Well, there's a company that labels a Rotiform IPA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the can design's cool and all that shit. And then somebody else I met who had a Isuzu Amigo, a yellow Amigo that was excellent. They had a case of beer in the back too.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good times. It was a good show. It was tiring post Farrah's birthday party, but it was a good show. And
we had to leave Farrah's party a little early. I think we left at like 9 because we just had to get up early. I was at the show at 6:15.
Okay.
So and we left at probably 6. So it was like a good long 12-hour hustle.
Yeah,
that's the downside of running a Radwood is I never get to actually like enjoy it because I don't get to go out and see the cars and talk to people.
Right.
And like this one I actually did a little bit.
That's good.
I went out and it felt like it's kind of like all those major events like a SEMA or a whatever, where you're walking and somebody's like, oh hey, how you been, I haven't seen you in forever, and you get done talking to them, you turn around and somebody's like, hey, how's it going?
Totally.
so
Totally.
so it's just
Yeah.
like you're going from one person to another. So I didn't really see many cars, but it was a really cool event, and I'm so excited that people are still coming out and having fun with it.
Absolutely. Radwood's definitely a market on the calendar. Yeah. I was talking to Kristen Lee and like she's standing there with Ken Gucci. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. He's a really good driver. Like, and then you turn around, and you talking to like 10 other people, and
Yeah.
he even had the G-Shock that was done by for Ray's wheels, because I think he's
Oh,
sponsored by Ray's, and it
fantastic.
was so good. But the show is excellent. I like that people still dress up for it. I'm glad that hasn't like faded a bit. Like, like with Lemons.
I think it's gotten more intense.
You do? Okay, that's
I
good.
do. I think earlier on people were like, I don't know if I'm going to dress up, and it would be like 10 to 15%, and now it feels like it's like 30 to 50% of people are dressing up.
That's good.
So.
That's good. I was going to compare it to Lemons, when like early on it felt like people went like crazy for the themes,
Mm-hmm.
and then the themes faded a little bit, but they were still there. But I think the themes are still going strong. It just, maybe because I've been doing it for a few years now, it just doesn't seem as like, oh wow, look at that, like some of the teams that you used to love and look forward to seeing aren't there as much. But the themes are still going for sure.
Yeah.
So
well, you guys have like the greatest theme, right? You just
we had a good one. Now it's just kind of just a simple Huevos Rancheros theme because it's a ranchero,
right.
But Tim is cooking up, he has a Mercury that he wants to add to the fleet, that he wants to make his wife's race car.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So that we could do a 2-car team. But that,
cool.
I think the idea might get like the Sugar Skull theme, like the Mexican.
Okay.
Sugar
okay.
Skull,
Yeah.
Dia de los Muertos theme to go against the Huevos Rancheros theme.
Nice.
But that's going to take a lot of work. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. They were like, oh, you coming back for Sonoma? Which is, like next weekend or whenever. We're like, no, we're taking off till next spring. We can't just, bust ass through the holidays and not see our families and all that stuff. So we're going to push for Thunderhill in the spring, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Lemons is still a lot of fun.
I need to get out and do that eventually. I've been to a bunch of races, and I've like helped judge a couple times, and every time I'm there, I'm like, damn, I need to like actually do this. And still haven't done it. I know that I could. If I just like called any of number of 40 Lemons teams that I know, they'd be like, yeah, come on out.
Christian Mental, right? Mental. Yeah. So you could be like, hey man, I just need a seat. He point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now how, because you have such a sizable fleet, how is the fleet at the moment?
Everything runs.
That's good.
It's all sitting on really cool wheels.
That's good.
And I haven't driven hardly any of it all year.
Yeah. The Flat Six's Instagram account posted a picture of your 912. I'm like, I feel like that picture's old.
It is old. Yeah.
Okay.
It is old. I just have to keep the IG alive,
Right.
But yeah, that was from
last winter.
Yeah. But anyway, the problem with doing all of the things that I do.
Yes.
And really I add more work to my schedule than like anybody asks me to do. It's just me going, oh yeah, of course I want to interview that person, and then I want to sit and transcribe the interview for 4 hours and then write it, So yeah, I'm the one that's doing it to myself. But I wasn't home a lot. Literally for all of October, I was home for 1 day. And then most of November I was gone. So yeah, it was pretty rough. But I'm doing cool things and I'm seeing cool stuff and whatever.
It's like the famous Chappelle talking about Kanye. He's like, my life is dope and I do dope shit. Click.
I mean, the 912 has a suspension issue.
Okay.
The Audi has a suspension issue. The 944 needs a windshield, and the belts squeal like a mother. The Leaf is fine-ish. I bought airbags to slam it, and I still haven't installed them. They've been sitting in the garage for almost a year.
Okay.
The Boxster is in a million pieces.
Yeah. Is the
But my BMW R1100 GS motorcycle is perfect.
Oh yeah, that one's fine. Is the Audi? Is that an S6 or?
It is an S6. Yeah.
It's a real S6.
Yep.
And it is lifted.
Yes. 12 inches.
12 inches. I haven't seen that one in a while. Does it still...
I haven't driven it.
Yeah.
We moved into this house in June of last year. I think that was the last time I drove it. Was when I drove it from the old house to this house.
Okay. All right. That one, I like that one a lot.
It's good. I made a small error when I was installing the front right lift puck. And so it's got like a chunk where the strut hat doesn't turn the way that it's supposed to, so the spring turns inside the hat.
Oh.
So when you're turning the wheel, it goes dong dong, like the spring is bouncing, and so I need to fix that.
Yeah.
It's just I need to grind a bolt down and then reinstall it.
Oh.
But it's just like when do I have 5 hours to take all that suspension out, grind a bolt down, and put it all back in? So
because that one seems like the best winter vehicle in your fleet.
It would be a really good winter vehicle, and there's a potential that I'll be moving somewhere with like real winters. And if that does happen, that'll probably be the first thing that I do is fix that and get it on the road again.
Okay.
It's still in pretty good shape. I mean, it's not rusty. There's no real issues with it. I could throw a battery in it and start it right now. Like it's been a basically flawless car for years. I mean,
most old S6 owners can't say. Is it an S6?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. 95.
Damn.
That was back when Audi was Audi, man. Inline 5-cylinder turbo. Yeah,
Engine's
that thing rules.
3 feet in front of the axle. Fucking Jesus Christ. Pendulum terms, no problem in that bitch. Right. Damn, that's cool. All right, so you got to get some shit in gear. The ambulance is clearly.
Oh, ambulance is good.
Yeah, I saw.
Ambulance is good.
Let's jump over to Twitter because I posted and we got some Twitter questions.
Yeah.
Start from the bottom.
For sure.
I love this one from Midnight Drifto. I've already answered on Twitter, but what's the hottest take you've had that you've since changed your mind about? Has there ever been one?
I kind of gave a snarky answer about that.
I know.
I think there probably are some hot takes that I've changed my mind about. I think I used to, I don't know how hot this is, but I used to be like, PDK's everything, manuals are trash.
Okay.
Pretty hot,
That's
I guess.
pretty hot.
And I've come around and I'm the opposite now.
Oh.
Like I would never drive.
You're like the GT4 RS is garbage now.
Yeah, I would never own one because I would much rather have the stick.
Okay.
And realistically, like GT4 is too much power for me anyway, so I wouldn't buy one of those. But
that thing's a monster.
It's great. It's an awesome car, but like, where are you going to use that?
Yeah, no.
400 horsepower is just a lot.
That's funny. It's funny you flipped. Francisco Guerrero at Guerrero_FJ. Can someone track the Coda guy to make sure he'll be there? I don't know who the Coda guy is.
There's a guy on YouTube. I don't know who he is, but he has like 5 Codas. Like the electric, like terrible.
They are. I went on the press launch for that thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh wow. There's a guy that's buying them used for cheap.
We got to drive them in the LA River.
Oh, that's cool.
What were they based on? Some Daewoo, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stupid. Man, it was not good. Pat's Curtains at Pat's Curtains. Some think electric conversions are sacrilegious. What car do you think is a better driving experience with an electric motor, and how would you defend your decision to the purist? We already kind of touched on that, but I'll let you go more into it if you want.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say something like a 600 Grosser would be amazing with an EV motor. And I think
that would need 2.
Right, yeah, probably. But I think like big, luxurious, stuff that you want to be relatively fast. I drove a Volkswagen van with an EV swap that was like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like it can actually stay with traffic now.
Right.
But also like you're hitting the wall faster, so you are the crumple zone. So maybe, I don't know.
I would like a what is it? What era Benz is it? But the the 560 SEL, not the coupe, because I would want the
mhm,
coupe to still be gas.
mhm.
But the big sedan, the
Yeah,
big
like the
560
long wheelbase.
SEL,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that would be that's so a more modern version of your answer, so to speak.
Here's something that I would argue for is off-roading.
Yeah,
Electric
totally.
off-roading rules. One, because you can hear everything,
Mm-hmm.
and two, it's like the torque application is much
100%.
smoother.
Yep.
So
And it's
yeah,
there immediately.
yeah,
I was I tweeted at Mike Levine about the Illuminator. I was like, dude, I will put one in this tomorrow, my Montero, just because I have no love for this engine. I'm sure there's Mitsubishi people like, oh, 6G72. Like, no, I'm good.
yeah.
Because the other engine swap I want to do with this, even though they said they were going to get it legal in California, and then I don't think they ever did anything, is that Cummins R28,
Hmm.
which is their little 4-cylinder turbo, which would be so perfect in this.
Hmm.
But an illuminator up here would be
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah.
And yeah, you defend it by saying like, do you really get excited about certain, like, this is not a thrilling engine note to me.
Right,
And then
right.
I don't care about the engine noise. So then I want it to perform better. And now it would smoke, if you care about, doing that, but off road, it
Hmm.
would just be so smooth and controllable. It would be fantastic. It's defendable for sure. And then if you need the
Yeah,
outright power, there's the one you said that went 300 plus, and then there's the drag Camaro and the drag Ford and all that crap, and it's insane.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, for short, fast applications, it makes a lot of sense. And I think if we get to better battery technology, be it swaps or faster charging or whatever, it could make sense for more like endurance applications
Right, right,
as
right, right.
well.
We need someone to start. It's too early to start chopping them up, but we need someone to find a crashed Lucid Air
Yeah. Oh,
that
they're
has
coming.
destroyed. Yeah, I know.
I've driven one. They're coming.
Nice. At Real Mud Monster, are there places you would like to visit or return for Radwood? And also, did you take any time for a break or two? So the answer to that second one is no. But where would you like to visit or return with Radwood?
uh, we have done some really cool shows. For the most part, the ones that are like super successful, we just go back to anyway.
Mm,
Seattle, NorCal, SoCal, Austin, somewhere in the Northeast like Boston or Philly. Detroit was really cool. I'd love to go back to Detroit. Right now, it's just venue dependent. Like
yeah.
the issues that we had getting the schedule for 2021 was that like as soon as people were like pandemic's over, which it still isn't, but you know
Right.
what I mean.
Right.
As soon as we were getting back to doing venues, every venue was booked for every weekend
Right.
for the rest of the year.
Yep.
And there are no state or city owned venues that are really accepting big events right now.
Mhm.
So that cuts into what's available. And so it's just like a matter of finding a place that fits your timetable and budget and is big enough that can fit 600 cars.
Right.
We were very lucky in LA because we had planned to do a really big event at a number of different venues, and we were having trouble getting the venues booked, and Acura was like, well, why don't we just do it here? And we were like, yeah, okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
so yeah, that was there were a bunch of hoops we had to jump through to do that, obviously with the legal department and the landscaping department and the whatever, but we made that happen. So that was cool. And yeah, I mean, next year we're trying to do 10 shows. We'll try to hit basically every part of the country that we can.
So you did
Um,
the UK.
we did well. We did the UK. I
Right.
was in the
Right. You
hospital.
were in the hospital. Was that the only international? There was never Japan, right?
That we tried to do Japan. We tried to work with Speed Hunters on that, and about like a month and a half out, we all agreed that there was no confidence we could actually break that market. So
Bummer.
yeah,
It
it's
seems
tough.
like that would be a wild
It,
Radwood.
it absolutely would. We just have to find the right partner because a lot of Japanese culture, especially in car culture, doesn't really trust outsiders.
Mm,
So like us coming from America, we don't speak the language. We
Mhm.
don't like work with any companies that are there. I mean,
Right, 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 right.
even our relationship with Honda is American Honda, so it's
Yep.
not, so we don't have like the presence that a Moon Eyes or whatever would have. So we would have to work with somebody who's already got a presence there, and then you've got the issues of time zones and communication and all of that. So it's a thing for the future. We just don't know when. But we are trying to do Australia.
That was literally what I was going to say next. Australia will be. I mean, if you do not have a burnout competition,
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Who has the tallest blower through the hood of their
Shit,
'87
I might have to.
Holden Monaro?
I'm going to start saving my airline miles for that one. That would be the shit.
Yeah. And that's another one where like the car culture is so closely knit
Yeah.
that we're having to like work with everyone that we possibly can.
Yeah.
To get a big crowd out. So, and we've got a while before it hopefully eventually happens.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, that is one that we have on the books. We've talked about Germany, we've talked about France, going back to the UK.
Yeah.
All of these things, it's just a matter of, there's only 5 of us, and how much time and effort can we actually expend on. And the fact that, if we're flying 5 people to Japan, that's, $10,000.
Right.
Right out of the hole. That
Yep, absolutely.
You're adding to your expenses.
Hotels and logistics, and yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Steve Edwards at MT_drift. Do you think we'll ever be able to buy a new electric car that's not also a data machine? Given the opportunity, I'd love a Rivian, but I don't want to be connected to their mainframes 24/7. I just want a cool electric truck to drive.
There's got to be a way to do that without being like super cloud heavy. Yeah. I mean,
it's not just an electric thing though.
No, it's not. It's all cars now. Every new car is going to have. I mean, even the Polestar has Hey Google, and there's all of them have Alexa or whatever.
Or Mercedes has its own where you say Hey Mercedes.
Right. Yeah. Hey, yeah. The wake word in a Taycan is Porsche. So if you're talking to somebody about the car while you're in the car, it's like, how can I help you? And I'm like, shut up.
Right. No, I did have a moment when I was reviewing a Mercedes and I was demonstrating the system, and I said, shut up. And it said, sorry. And I was like, I felt terrible. So then I woke it back up and I apologized, and it said, that's okay. And I was like, poor machine. But yeah, so I don't know. It's a very connected world. So
I was going to say the flip side of that is everything is data.
Yeah.
So like if you have a phone in your hand, it's doing the same thing that your car is doing. So
yeah, like I get the sentiment, but I just don't see how it's possible anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you just buy something old.
I was going to say my Leaf's not in the cloud because it's too dumb.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So that goes back to, that's how you defend it to purists, is you go, oh, well then buy something old, put electric shit in it, and now you're not connected to anything.
Yep.
Pasha Nasrat at that dude Pasha, the person I gave the scooter to. Favorite Reno/Tahoe brewery. Also, have you ever checked out the Harris Car Collection?
Yeah, the Harris Car Collection is now the National Automobile Museum in downtown Reno, and it's pretty cool. A lot of his stuff was pre-war, and a lot of the really exciting stuff got sold off in an auction when he died. So,
man,
before the museum was created.
Is the Corsair still there? What is it? What's that car called? Is it the Phantom Corsair?
Yes, yeah, that's there. The big black, aerodynamic thing,
like designed for like the Heinz, family member. Yeah,
one of his Geraris is still there.
Okay,
which is really cool. V12 Jeep Wagoneer. Which is ridiculous. Wild. So basically, like most of the collection is pre like 1920. But there is one room that is like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, like everything.
Okay.
That's after that. And that's the room that I like the best, honestly. Sure. But there's some cool electric stuff in there. There's some cool like icons of the 50s. So there's like a 356 Speedster and a Gullwing Mercedes and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm a member. I live like walking distance from it, so yeah, I'm a member.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. As for local breweries, I mean, Great Basin is the one that's probably the most popular around
Yeah.
here. They have the Icky IPA. I'm not an IPA guy, but they have some other ones that are pretty good. The Wheeler Peak Wheat is my favorite. It's
Okay, there you go.
just a plain golden wheat. I like it. Um, and then like up in Tahoe, there's 50/50
Yeah,
is up in uh, Truckee, just
yeah,
outside of Truckee. I like 50/50. Other than that, I don't know. I don't really go to breweries much.
sure. Greg Cachadurian at Greg C. Catch, Hooniverse news editor. Have you ever had a take that even you thought was too much?
The thing that people don't understand is I'm not making up takes to be hot take guy. I actually genuinely believe all of these
Right,
things.
right.
Like it I'm not like trying to be intentionally obtuse or whatever about stuff. It's
I
like,
hate that they're called takes.
yeah,
They're opinions,
they're
and when
just, yeah,
it's my opinion, and we've changed it to this thing to be a take.
yeah,
Like, and I get it. I'm not an idiot. I understand what the term means, but like, hey, my opinion on this is here's what I think, and that sounds less spicy than like, oh, here's my hot take on this one.
sure,
Get
yeah,
ready, smash that like button,
yeah.
or you know,
Well,
like,
that's the funny thing is like back when I was doing the podcast for all those years, we actually called them Brad Pinions.
nice,
so so before there was a hot take, there was Brad Pinions. So that,
perfect.
yeah, it was just um I guess I just see the world differently to a lot of people, I guess. Is
Yeah,
all I.
yeah. No, I
But
mean that's you
but
have
I
a
mean,
different opinion.
there was a point where 80s and 90s cars are cool was a hot take. And now Radwood exists. So,
Absolutely.
I'm not taking full credit for Radwood, obviously, but I was instrumental in the beginning of the movement. So,
Yes,
yeah.
no doubt about it. Um, that's I'm very excited for this weekend. I'm really looking forward to the show.
I
Just
am
for everybody
too.
out there listening, as a reminder, Autopia2099.com. There's a link to go buy the tickets. If you are lazy and just want to get into the door, you can do that as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
We just like to see the counter go up when people buy tickets, so we get excited.
Yes. Yes.
That's purely selfish reasons.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember the first Radwood when we were all like staying in the same Airbnb, and it was like, oh man, another one just sold. Oh man, another one just sold. Like, this is so cool.
yeah.
So,
Same
yeah.
idea. Same idea. Brad, tell everybody where they can find you online, be it your written word or on social media.
I am found most evenings at jalopnik.com. I write for flat6s.com as I have for almost 10 years now. Um, and I'm doing some freelance work here and there for Auto Week and Grassroots Motorsports and a few others. So check those out. You can find my quote unquote hot takes at BC Brownell on the Twitter machine. I no longer have a Facebook or Instagram because Mark Zuckerberg doesn't need my help. So
Truth. Truth. You can follow me at Hooniverse Jeff on Instagram and Twitter if you want. Though these days, flip side. I prefer Instagram, even though I also hate Mark Zuckerberg. And I don't have a Facebook page. I have a secret one just so that the Hooniverse can have its own Facebook page, but I literally
Yep.
auto post to it. I don't interact. So the weird thing is though, if that page isn't posting, I can see my traffic drop. So,
Oh
fuck
wow.
me, right? So yeah. And then there's also the Autopia 2099 Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see more updates or get more information like that. Bradley, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me on the podcast.
Happy to be here. Couldn't get to where I am without Hooniverse and the likes of
That's very
Jeff
kind of you to
Glucker.
say.
So
That's very kind of you to say. And now
lots of great writers start at Hooniverse.
now I'm glomming onto your coattails to try to get this electric car thing off the road. And again,
That's
thank
right.
you for inviting me to be a part of it. I think it was like hey, do you want to do an electric car show? And I was like, hell yeah, I do. I think that's how the conversation went.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. All right.
So,
That's
cool,
all we
man.
have for now. We'll be back next week with a regular show with our friend Ron Bach, co-host of the show. Go to blipshift.com to buy some t-shirts. We appreciate that as well. And then if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do anything I say, but thank you for listening. We'll see you all next week.